Hello, everyone. My name is Ashley Green, and I want to thank you for being here today and listening as we go over how performance management is impacted by generational shifts. So, we're increasingly seeing the importance of adapting our management strategies to support more diverse teams, especially those made up of multiple generations. Today, I want to focus on how generational shifts are impacting performance management and what we can do to lead more effectively across age groups. So, why does this matter in performance management? Today's workforce spans 4 to 5 generations. Each generation brings its own expectations around work, communication, feedback, balance, acknowledgement, recognition. Because of that, there is no the traditional one size fits all in performance systems will fall short because it's not meeting the needs of the team and it's not as inclusive as it will need to be. And because of that, leaders must adapt to meet the evolving employee needs. This is a critical issue because generational diversity brings both opportunity and complexity. Each generation has grown up with different norms around communication, feedback, work expectations, work life balance, acknowledgement, recognition. If we don't adjust how we manage performance, we risk disengagement and low morale. So, there are many characteristics that make up each generation. On this screen here, you currently see the generations and their motivators for work. However, there are more. There's also their feedback styles are different and their use of technology is different. So for baby boomers, their feedback style is a more formal feedback style. However, as you see on the screen, they're motivated by loyalty. However, their use of technology is moderate, fairly moderate. As for Gen X, their feedback style is more independent, but they're motivated by balance in all aspects. And they are proficient in technology. As for millennials, it seems like their feedback style, they require more frequent feedback style, and they're motivated by purpose, like feeling what they do serves a purpose, that they have a purpose. And their use of technology is high. As for Gen Zers, they prefer more instant feedback style, and they're motivated by impact, but their use of technology is also very high. This chart gives us a quick snapshot of some of the differences. For example, Gen Z may expect real-time feedback, while boomers might prefer a more formal view. Gen X values independence, and millennials often want to feel like their work connects to a larger purpose. Understanding these nuances can help us tailor how we lead, how we support, how we coach, and how we show up for our team. So, some of the challenges. There are many challenges because they have conflicting expectations on this, the frequency and style of feedback. They've each come up in a very different time to where things were structured differently. So their requirements and their needs are different. Like there's a risk of disengagement if performance systems feel outdated or irrelevant. However, for maybe a boomer, it doesn't seem outdated. It's what they're used to. So how do we keep both of them engaged? And that's why there needs to be the performance management system needs to be tailored because there is no one size fits all, as you can see. These challenges can't be ignored. There They have conflicting feedback preferences. There are differing definitions of success and what success means to them. There is a risk for potential disengagement and a high risk of communication breakdown. These challenges can't be ignored. If you're only using one form of evaluation, such as an annual review, you're likely missing the mark for a large part of your workforce. Some team members may feel micromanaged, others might feel completely neglected and unsupported. Some might feel like you're being biased. That also allows us to talk about the overarching theme, which is consistency. There needs to be consistency. So therefore, that leads to less breakdown in communication and also less instances of possibly the introduction of more bias. So, what needs to evolve? There, there needs to be continuous feedback. Continuous feedback is always going to be important. Goal setting needs to be flexible. There needs to be multi-channel communication. And the reason for that is everybody communicates differently, everybody understands differently, and everybody learns differently. There also needs to be personalized and fair feedback. To meet the diverse needs, we should move away from rigid, infrequent reviews. Instead, we need to build systems that are flexible, ongoing, multidimensional, and which might mean integrating technology, offering self-reflection tools, or hosting monthly check-ins. As we talk about how it has to evolve, we can refer back to the slide on characteristics of each generation. Hosting monthly check-ins might be better for boomers because of the use of technology and how their moderate use of technology. However, if we integrate more technology, that might be good for Gen Zers and millennials because they have no problem with it. So doing or integrating more technology and offering self-reflection tools, hosting monthly check-ins allows us to be more inclusive in how we're communicating with our teams. Leading cross generations, leadership strategies. There needs to be adaptive communication. And with adaptive communication, which I mean is, as I mentioned earlier, everybody learns, understands, and communicates differently. That is not only between different types of people, because everybody does it, but it's also an added layer when you talk about having multi-generational teams and being able to understand and communicate with each other. Therefore, I would suggest developing an intergenerational mentorship programs that not only helps teams not be so siloed, it helps people to learn from each other, which also creates space for cross-generational collaboration. Teams will be able to learn from each other and learn different forms of communication and be more comfortable in different forms of communication. Let's say a Gen Z can learn from a boomer to be more formal and to be more detail oriented, while a boomer might learn from Gen Z more ways to improve in their technology skills. I also want to mention open dialogue. Leading cross generations not only allows people to get to know each other, allows people to work as a team more often because there is no, we're not creating separation across generations. We don't want the teams to be siloed within the teams. We want there to be interpersonal communication. And instead of focusing on generational differences, what we need to focus on is shared values like impact, growth, and communication and inclusion. Leaders must be intentional. The one size fits all communication will not work. We need to consider pairing older and younger employees in mentorships or across leadership roles. We need to encourage collaboration and empathy by highlighting shared values like impact and purpose. The key takeaways is that we want to build an inclusive performance culture. General diversity can definitely equal strength. Our system needs to be, the system for this organization needs to be transparent, inclusive, flexible, and growth focused. We want to support every employee to do their best work. If there's one thing to remember, it's this. The strength of a multi-generational team lies in its diversity, but only if we manage it wisely. Let's build performance systems that support everyone, not just the majority. So let's talk. I just want to thank you so much for your time. And I'd love to open this up for questions or to hear about your own experiences in managing across generations. Is there anything that you're seeing in your teams? Is there anything that you think needs to be noted? Because as our workforce becomes more generationally diverse, performance management must evolve. What worked 10 years ago won't cut it today.